stood with her baby over the fire. And the story is known. It's the famous story of the boy and the king. And I'm pretty sure all of you have heard the story of the boy and the king. When the entire village became Muslim by the death of that young boy. Because when the king threw his arrow, struck his arrow only after he said Bi-idhnillah, Bismillah, Rabbul Ghulam, he was able to kill this child in the name of Allah. When everyone witnessed this, they all embraced Islam, those were of the onlookers. So this evil king commanded an enormous fire to be kindled. And all of those who would not recant or denounce their faith in Allah were to be thrown into this fire. So they started throwing these mu'minas, these mu'mins, these believing servants of Allah who believed in Allah. Anyone that did not denounce La ilaha illallah was thrown into this bottomless pit of fire until they reached a lady, a woman who was carrying a breastfeeding or a suckling child in her arms, in her hands, a young tender child. She reached the brink, the edge of the pit, and nothing before her except fire, burning, scorching, raving fire. So she was a bit reluctant and hesitant, not because of her faith, no, but due to the child's weakness and innocence. When she looked at him, she considered turning back. But Subhanallah, who gave us the senses and who gave us the ability to converse, to speak. At that time, the Almighty Lord allowed and commanded the child in her arms to speak. And the baby said to her mother, his mother, who was reluctant to throw herself in the pit, he said to her, "What are you waiting for, mother? What are you waiting for, mother? Go forward! Go forward, for you are on the truth," he said to her. Allahu Akbar. Go forward, for you are on the truth. And then, her and her baby, she threw herself in the fire. But what fire is this? It is no more than throwing yourself in the pit of mercy, of coolness. For indeed, they believed in Allah Ta'ala. But you can see this woman who had that courage, that strength, that love for Allah Ta'ala. She did not recant or denounce or decline La ilaha illallah, no matter what her enemies were to do to her. Even when she was on that edge, she had her child, she was about to throw herself in there. The only reason she was going to withdraw is due to the tender age of that child. For indeed, as the Almighty Lord says, and she knows this, Ya ayyuhalladina amanu, istajibu lillahi walirrasuli idha da'akum lima yuhyikum. Wa'alamu anna Allah yahulu bayna al-mar'i wa qalbi wa annahu ilayhi tuhsharun. O you who believe, give your response to Allah and His Messenger when He calls you to that which shall give you life. And know that Allah comes between a man and his heart, and that it is He to whom, wallahi, our sisters, it is only He to whom you shall all be gathered. You shall all be gathered. And subhanallah, when they got thrown into that fire, where are they going? Where are they going? You're going to die one day. Imagine dying in a state of sacrificing your body for Allah Ta'ala, of remaining steadfast and firm and strong and not recanting or denouncing La ilaha illallah, no matter what happens to you, no matter what surrounds you, no matter what people say to you. You know, we have many sisters and brothers out there today that they're not being thrown in the fire, but they're being told you cannot do this, you cannot do that, and because of their desire of this and that, they would compromise, they would water or dilute their faith in order that they don't lose this or that. This woman, this lady, this mu'mina threw herself in the fire with her son in chase of Allah and to be gathered before Allah. Allahu Akbar. My dear sisters, Allah and His Messenger are calling you to life. Dear sister, reply to Allah and His Messenger. Another example, another role model, another great woman who was a mu'minah, who was a truthful, righteous, pious, faithful, and a real slave and servant of Allah, is no other than Asiyah bint Muzahim. Asiyah, the wife of Fir'aun, as one of the best models for all women to emulate. Wallahi, she was the example of supreme sacrifice. Supreme sacrifice. And in a narration collected by Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala, narrated by Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who said that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, many amongst men reach the level of perfection, but none amongst the women reach this level except Asiyah, Fir'aun's wife, and Maryam, the daughter of Imran. Asiyah, her iman in Allah thrived. It boiled. It rose towards the heavens. And who was she under? Who was she under the control of? She was under the control or under the shadow of someone who said, I am your Lord Most High. A'udhu billah. She was the wife of one of the most powerful, arrogant, and tyrant rulers of Egypt. By marrying Fir'aun, Asiyah herself became the queen of Egypt. She gained everything that she wanted in this worldly life. You know, she had the best of clothes, the best of food, palaces, jewels, servants, maids, beauty, status, position, everything. But for a believing servant, my dear sisters, for a believing servant in Allah, wealth, beauty, status, position was not the main criterion of human excellence. She realized that without faith in Allah, a human being has nothing, is useless, is worthless. Subhanallah. So when she tasted the sweetness of Iman, this powerful woman, when she tasted the sweetness of Iman, these so-called luxurious items became a thorn by her side, and not only did she reject them, but also endured all sorts of sufferings, tribulations, atrocities, hardships by the hands, the evil, tyrant hands of her own husband. Why? Purely for the sake of Islam. Only because she said La ilaha illallah. For wallahi, when news reached Fir'aun of his wife's Iman and her stability and her firmness and her steadfastness, he immediately started beating her severely, and likewise he commanded his guards, his soldiers, not only to beat her, But to take her out in the scalding midday heat